I want to take a moment to give our next guest some space. So he's an inspiring leader. He takes complex topics and provides solutions for those complex topics. He has spoken to many local and national corporations. He's a father, he's a husband, and he's a friend of mine. So can we welcome Joel Peterson?
Thank you. Thank you for that introduction too, Shannon. I appreciate that. The biggest thing that you need to know about me is that I love you. And I 100% love the energy that has been provided through here so far. But, I'm here because I love you, and I want to make sure that you get the best out of today. And that's exactly what we're going to do. And so we're going to talk about our virtual interview. And so since this, new normal that we're in the virtual interview. And so how do we pass this virtual interview that we're going to do? And so I'm just going to give you some tips to make sure that you can ace this virtual interview. And then we're going to get into some role play about the interview. So if we can just start the slide. So the first thing that we find out in this new virtual world is that we want to make sure that we test our technology, right? We don't want to make sure that we go on 5 minutes before and then we try to start this technological thing, because there's some things that can come up, bandwidth and other different things that can come up that will make that can sabotage your existence. And so we want to make sure that we test our technology. So you don't want to wait until the last minute to technology. The other portion of this is know the difference between your phone and your computer. Okay. There are many people who don't necessarily have a laptop, and so they're doing virtual interviews from their phone. If that is the case and you're doing a virtual interview from your phone, please understand that the depth perception of your phone is different than the depth perception of your computer. And so if I have my phone that's right here, I can't have the phone right up here, because the depth perception is not going to be good for everyone else that's in the video. So you want to make sure that if you have your phone and you have your computer, your laptop, that you want to make sure that the depth perception is good with that. The other thing is being aware of your bandwidth. Okay, I have children in my house, and so as children do, they play video games, they play Madden, they play all of these different things. I want to be aware of my actual bandwidth, because if two of my kids are playing video games and then I get on, and now that my computer is slow, then again it is sabotaging my virtual interview. And so we want to make sure that we have the bandwidth that is necessary to complete the interview. So the first tip of this is test your technology. Don't wait till the last minute to test your technology. I always test the technology a day before and make sure that everything is good. So we want to make sure that we do not test, we want to make sure that we test our technology. Can we go to the next slide? So spending time preparing. It is so important because, again, we're in this virtual interview phase. We want to make sure that we want to put our best foot forward as it relates to this virtual interview. So we want to make sure that we spend time preparing just as if we were actually going to the interview. And so you want to dress for success. Again, you want to dress for success for the interview. One of the things that we see time and time again is that people will come in with shirt and tie, and then they don't have any pants on, or something else of that comes into place. And something falls or something like that happens, and now you're in a compromising position. We do not necessarily want that to happen. And so we want to make sure that we are spending time preparing. We want to dress for success. We want to eliminate the distractions. And you want to have a neutral background. You want to have all of these things that are prepared before you enter your virtual interview, because it is, again, important that we do not want to sabotage our virtual interview. The next thing is, I have on here, banish all pets. Banish all pets. I cannot tell you how many Zoom interviews that have been interrupted by pets barking, pets coming in, all these different things. And so we want to make sure that if you're doing your first virtual interview and you want to put your best foot forward, you want to put the pet downstairs or somewhere else so that you can fully be involved with this interview. So spending time preparing is the second piece of this. You want to test your technology, then you want to spend time preparing. We can go to the third. So you want to set your ground rules. You want to set our ground rules. You want to give a callback number just in case something happens and you want to get, and sometimes things can happen. And so you want to give them a callback number to call you back just in case something goes wrong. Here's the next thing. You want to make sure that there is peace in your home during the time of the call. Again, I have children. I have 4 children. And so I have to go to each one of them. If I'm going on a Zoom meeting or any type of interview or anything like that, I go to each one of them and say, listen, for the next hour, I do not need you to, come up here, come around me, do anything like that. I want to make sure that, again, I am not sabotaging my interview, because, kids, they do what they want to do. And so we want to make sure that we want to set the ground rules for the kids, for the other people that's in the house. If somebody who happens to be coming over, you want to make sure that if they're coming in from this time to this time, I'm upstairs and I am completely locked in to this interview. So you want to make sure that the next thing is you want to find a neutral background. Again, find a neutral background. I can't have Megan Thee Stallion back behind me right now and I'm giving an interview. I can't do that. I can't have I hate the Dallas Cowboys behind me in a poster that will distract from the interview. So you want to find a neutral background, and you want to make sure that the background is not distracting, because you want to put your best foot forward. You do not want your virtual meeting to distract from you. You have your personal skill set, you have your personal skills that you want to get across, and you want to make sure that this virtual meeting enhances that. You don't want to make sure that the virtual meeting distracts from that. So you want to find a neutral background. We can go to the next slide. So we want to communicate with virtual reality in mind, okay? Communicate with virtual reality in mind. When I'm in a normal interview, there are times when sometimes I speak with my hands, right? There's sometimes where I get so passionate about what I'm saying that I speak with my hands. What happens in a virtual setting is, now if my hands are in front of me, and now this becomes distracting. And so now I can't speak with my hands. I can't do any of those things. So I have to put my hands down. I have to have my hands in a specific place, because again, I don't want this to become distracting. So you want to make sure that you're communicating with this virtual reality in mind. You want to keep your body language in check. The next thing is keeping your eyes forward. If you have certain things that are on pieces of paper, you have note cards, or whatever the case may be. You want to take those note cards and actually put them up in front of your screen. That way you can keep your eyes forward. You don't want to put your head down and look down and do all these different things and then keep your head up, because now, again, that is distracting. Again, the biggest thing in mind is that you do not want this virtual technology to distract from your skill set. You want your skill set to come across. You want them to feel your authentic self. And so the only way that you do that is that you eliminate these distractions, you set these ground rules, and you test your technology, because all of those things can completely get in front of what you're trying to do. So again, with communicating with virtual reality in mind, you don't want to use your body language that much, and you want to keep your eyes forward. The next thing is make sure that your lighting is representative. And I'm kind of going through these things, and I'm going through these things really fast because I want to get to the other piece of this. So you want to make sure that your lighting is representative, meaning that if you are a boy, a boy or a man of color, you want to make sure that your lighting is representative, and it makes it makes you look good in the thing. So we want to make sure that our lighting is representative, and we want to make sure that the lighting that we're projecting is representative as well. So that is another key piece to, I mean, if you're sitting there and you're spewing out all of this information and you're in the dark, or someone can't really see you, then again, that is technology getting in the way of you presenting your skill set. So it is something that is very, very, very important that our lighting is absolutely representative, and we can make sure that it makes sense to everyone that is involved. And so the last thing, and we can go to the last slide, is I'm going back to being prepared. Being prepared is something that is so super important. When I am on an interview, I am in full dress. I sometimes even put dabs of cologne on because I want to feel like I'm in the place with the people. I want to make sure that I'm there and fully present with the people. So it is something that is super, super, super important. Like I said, I get completely fully dressed from the shoes on up. I put cologne on. I do all of these things because I want to make sure that I'm present within the video. Again, you want to make sure that your volume is up. You want to make sure that your mute is off. And you want to ask questions, right? During this interview, yes, they're interviewing you, but you want to interview them. You want to make sure that it's a good fit for you as well. So you come prepared with questions, the exact same way that you would in an in-person interview. A lot of times we're at home, and so we relax, but you don't want to necessarily relax, especially when you're trying to ace this interview. So you come with these questions prepared, and again, you dress for success. These are things and these are tips that will help you ace the interview. You want to test your technology. You want to spend time preparing. You want to set your ground rules. You want to communicate with virtual reality in mind. You want to make sure that your lighting is representative. And then you want, again, to be prepared. And so now we have the other piece when Nafisa and Shannon will actually come in, and they're actually going to do some role play for you.
Right. Thank you so much, Joel. I'll just start as the interview, or actually the employer, and Shannon will start as the interviewer. So just setting the content for everyone so far. Hello, Shannon. I'm Nafisa Burdine with Manpower Group. It's a pleasure to meet you. Hello, Shannon. Can you hear me? If you're having audio issues, please look on the left-hand side. You'll see a button for a microphone. There's a little arrow, and you could turn the microphone on that way.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, there you are.
Yeah, okay, good. How are you today?
I'm doing good. Thank you
Good.
for your interest in this advisory role. Shannon, can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so I've been thinking about getting a job with you all. I put in my resume already, and I've been doing some work for quite some time, for about 5 years, and just trying to see if I can get a position. Hold on a second. Wait. Oh, hold on. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can
You
hear
can hear me?
you.
Okay.
I can hear you, Shannon.
Oh, oh, wait a minute. Can you see me?
I can't see you, but I
Oh,
can definitely hear you.
all right. Hold on a second. Okay. I'm sorry about that. I don't know there's something going on with my Wi-Fi where I am. So,
Okay, okay. Well, thank you for providing me with those details, Shannon. Can you tell me your thoughts on why you're qualified for this position?
oh, sure. Yeah. I mean, one of the things that um, I think is important is that, I've been looking for a job for quite some time. And so, you know, it's, oh my God. Uh, can
Are
you,
you are you still there, Shannon?
I'm sorry, there's some technical issues, but I think your question was, why do I think I'm wait, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Can we start over?
Sure. And Shannon, if you could tell me your thoughts on why you're qualified for this position, that would be
Oh,
helpful.
okay, well, I'm qualified. I'm qualified because I'm a good person.
Okay. All right.
And, I've been really working hard at my last position. And I think it's just time for me to come over to where you are. And I know I have the skill set. I've been preparing for this job, and it's just important to me. So, I don't,
Okay. Okay. Well, Shannon, thank you. Thank you for your time today. Okay.
but I wanted to
Okay.
ask just one more. Wait, I'm sorry. Because these technical issues are such a thing. I
Okay.
want to ask you just one question.
Okay.
Oh, that's okay. Never mind.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Well, Shannon, thank you for your time today. You have a good day.
You do the same. Thank you. Such a pleasure.
Sure. Joel, can you summarize that for us?
Absolutely. That it may seem like it's an over exaggeration, but these things actually happen on a day by day basis. And so, again, we want to make sure that we're prepared. We want to make sure that all of these things are presented beforehand because, again, as we see Shannon, he has a great personality, right? However, the technological issues stifle that out. And so his personality doesn't come across because of these virtual issues that he did not uh, take advantage of beforehand. So it is something that is important. Shannon got on his cell phone, definitely a no-no. He went back and forth with seeing and not seeing and all of these different things, and all of those things, like I said, it seems like an over exaggeration, but at the end of the day it's not, because people um, go through these things all the time. And so again, we want to make sure that the virtual interview doesn't sabotage you. We want to make sure that the virtual interview enhances what you actually have to give to give to the employer.
I appreciate that so much. I think the one thing for me as an employer, and I'll just speak from that perspective, and then I'll let Shannon speak from the interviewee side, it was distracting. It was very distracting. As an employer, I would hope that during this time, you've taken care of all the bugs of technology and having your full undivided attention. And so, I question as hiring an individual, are they fully committed? He was on his phone. So, one of the things I think about is there something else that's drawing his attention or his time? And is he truly interested in this position? So we've got about 1 minute before break. Shannon, why don't you chime in for us?
I think, once again, as a, someone who tries my best to do everything so I don't have those issues. And I think it goes back to exactly what Joel stated, being prepared. And not only being prepared for the interview, but also that, let's say you don't have the right technology. Let's say you're using someone else's computer in order to do your interview. It's important to be able to know the buttons, right? Because if I keep hitting off and I keep hitting mute, and you don't understand what both of those do, that can really come across in the interview. So, I mean, the points, the securing your pets. We've been on so many calls, where people are like, oh, maybe you're running across the computer or anything like that. So I just think it's important. It's just a great way of use of information. And then the last point is the use of our hands. Joel and I have talked about this so many times as in our conversations, because I use my hands when I speak. And sometimes that can be overbearing, but it's the person of who I am. And so I try to keep my hands close to keep them down, which makes it a bit easier during interviews or even when I'm presenting or speaking.
Thank you. Thank you, Joel, so much for those golden nuggets that you've provided us. Lots of great chat going on in the chat room. We will take a 10-minute break and we'll come back on shortly. So with that, we'll go ahead and head out to our next session.